Awesome.
All right, perfect. You're back.
Yeah, I was hearing like our live plus our current conversation. It was really odd. I don't know.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Um, First of all, thank you so much again. And it has been a long time since seeing you in college at SIU. And
Mhm.
um, so, just to start off the conversation, what made me want to ask you for this Q&A slash conversation about high school to college transition, especially
Mhm.
for girls and during this quarantine time, what they can focus on, and in general, overall in the future, what they can do, whether parents or families, what they can learn, and in the future, they can advise whenever they can watch this video in the future.
Okay.
So, what I remember, first of all, meeting you back in college is I'm a lot older than you are. When you were undergrad, I was in graduate school, but when I met you, you were calm and collected. You knew what you wanted to do. Seriously, you knew what you wanted to do. So I think that's really important quality for anyone coming to college. So I have questions from my niece and other high school students, but I want to start with my own question, which is what mindset you had and what you did, what prepared you to come into college and like confidence and
Hmm.
was you knew what you wanted to get. So
Sure.
um, can you start talking about that first of all, just for all of our audience, if you can just give a little bit of introduction, what you do, where you are, and just anything you want to introduce
Sure.
yourself.
So for the people who are watching too, if you want to drop where you're from, where you're tuning in from, that'll be awesome because I can gear some programs and opportunities specifically toward you guys. But Sayum, I'll start with a little bit of my background. So my name is Brittany Greathouse. I'm 28 years old. I'm from Bolingbrook, Illinois. It's like a southwest suburb of Chicago. I'm an only child. My parents, I think, as I was growing up, put me in a lot of programs, which I'm very fortunate about, right? I think I started off
Hmm.
when I was young playing basketball, so I got to learn about discipline and obedience early and organized sports and being like competitive, right? So that was something that I feel like was ingrained in me at a young age. And as I got older, I just pretty much started to. My parents put me in all these programs, specifically my mom, because she's like, okay, you need to figure out what you want to do, right? Like
Hmm. Hmm.
when it's high school and you're getting ready for college, you want to get a job, right? As a kid, you're just like, I got to get a job, I got to get money, I got to do something, but you don't know
Yeah,
specifically what that is, and not one test can tell you what you want to do, right?
yeah,
Um, and so when I was younger, when I was 11, I used to, as an only child, I used to like take all my money and spend it on like PlayStation games and frivolous things. But my mom took
yeah.
me to a bank. She opened myself up a savings account, and she said, "Hey, Brittany, if you can save $1,000 in 1 year, I will match it, and I'll give you another $1,000." And
So
so,
at 11 years old, you had a bank account.
yeah, my mom opened up a
That's
bank account because she realized I
okay.
wasn't saving.
Yeah.
And so then I
Wow.
was like, okay, well, I don't know how to save. I don't think I get $1,000 in a year, but I got to figure out how to make
Okay.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so my mom's also an entrepreneur, so I think I've seen that growing up too. And my dad worked in the car business over a dealership for a long time too. So I saw a lot of like drive, a lot of like sales things that I can do. So I'm like, what can I do to like make money? And so I pretty much every time I went to school, middle school, people would ask me for gum all the time. Brittany, can I have gum? Can I have gum? And then my gum would be gone, right? I would give it all away. So
Yeah.
then that birthed the idea of having a gum business. And pretty much long story short, I ended up selling gum, spinner chains, different things. And I made that $1,000. And then my mom sat me down and told me, hey, okay, as you're bringing money in, this is what an expense is. This is what a balance sheet is. This is what an income
Mm-hmm.
statement is.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
started then to make sense, right? I was happy that I made $3 today. I was like, okay, this makes sense. Oh, I spent 50, but I made 100, so I only really made $50, right? I didn't make
Yeah.
$100.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that to me started the birth of me loving entrepreneurship and business. And then in high school, my mom put me in this one program. It's called NAACP ACTSO. So it's a mouthful, but it's called the Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. It's geared for African American high school students who want to compete in like 26 different categories, whether that's dance, entrepreneurship, physics,
Mm-hmm.
photography, filmmaking, and they pair you with a mentor over the course of, I think it's up to close to like a year, and they have you pretty much prepare and compete at a local level. And if you win at the local level, you go to the national level and compete with
Mm-hmm.
people from other chapters. And so
Yeah.
that's where I learned how to make a business plan, how I learned what a proposal is, how I learned
Mm-hmm.
like you need to, when people are buying your product, they're buying you more so than anything else, right?
So what grade were you at that time in high school?
I was a freshman in high school.
Wow.
But let me tell you
Uh,
this, I
yeah.
did not want to go to this program, right? Like
Yeah.
I I think my sophomore year I stopped playing basketball, but this was like almost, I think it was 1 or 2 Saturdays a month. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But literally I didn't want to go, right? It's like I
Yeah.
have to spend, I'm in class Monday through Friday. Now you're telling me I have to spend my Saturday at
Yeah.
this program where I got to learn something else. Like I
Yeah.
want to play basketball. I want to go
Yeah.
outside. I want to hang out with my
Mm-hmm.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back at it, it's something that really helped me with public speaking. When I was young, right? I didn't
Yeah.
even know how to speak to people. I went on my local cable show and was literally stumbling over my words. I didn't know what to say or
Mm-hmm.
how to say it. And being in these
Mm-hmm.
programs, which I encourage
Mm-hmm.
everybody to do in middle school and high school, it lets you know, like, it helps you hone on who you are, and it carves your skills on regular, just like etiquette, right? For me, going to a dinner
Yeah.
and knowing
Yeah.
where's my bread knife and where's my fork, how to
Yeah.
speak to other people, how to be confident, right? How to know that I
Yeah.
don't have to know everything to open my mouth and speak. And if I want
Mm-hmm.
to ask a question or raise my hand and say, hey, I've been looking at this, but I need some help. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're inferior or you're not smart. It just means that you want to learn and you're curious. And that's the things
Yeah.
that people look for, right? So I think
Yeah.
those high school programs, plus regular just organizations in high school too, really
Mm-hmm.
helped prepare me for college. And there's a lot of programs I did in high school. So if you want, we can break it down further too. But that kind of showed me when I got to SIU, I was like, hey, I need to know what my brand is, right? I
Yeah.
want to be known for
That's
business,
huge. Yeah.
right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like I want to be driven. I want to be able to go there and get involved and meet all these intelligent people, right? Like when I first met you,
Yeah.
Seyoum, I was like, man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this guy is smart, like super intelligent, right? And you seem very outgoing too, and like it seemed like everything came
Th- th-
easy to you.
Thank you, but not even half as smart as you are. But yeah, let's go that. Oh, I'm gonna stop you just a little
Yeah.
bit. We'll continue that. I definitely know exactly what you mean by having your own brand, what you are known about. So I'm hoping that this video will help people who are younger in high school and may not have the environment or the courage or confidence to get them involved in areas, or they may not have even the guidance. So
Mm.
I'm wondering how younger kids, how can they overcome their fear to get into their programs? And if they haven't done any, sometimes I think, especially if
Mm.
those kids are from an environment where they have been discouraged, or they may not have all the confidence in the world,
Mm.
do you have any advice to encourage them just to overcome their fear, to just be vulnerable, open, and try out those kind of programs?
Yeah, the first thing is if you have parents that can get you involved, I think that's key, right? So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, you have to either let your parents know that you want to do something,
Yeah.
or you want to get involved in programs or after school clubs, and let them take initiative to help you. But I think beyond that, right? Let's say that you don't have that scenario, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
that's just not an option because your parents are working constantly and they just don't have the time or they don't know. I think
Yeah.
the first thing is to speak, right? There's a quote that says closed mouths don't get fed. And it's completely true, right? If you want something, you have to speak it into existence. You have to tell people, hey, I want this. And somehow the universe or God, whoever you believe in, will work and conspire with you, right? So once you start telling people, maybe even it's your friends, right? It's like, hey, I really love my biology class. I would love to get into a science program, right? And you even tell your
Yeah.
teacher, like
Yeah.
man, I like this. This is more than just like this class to me. I wish I can have this class all day. And that
Yeah.
teacher can tell you, maybe, you
Yeah.
know, there's an after school science program, or maybe you can have a high school internship with one of the labs, right? Like that can help you, um, you know, help you with your experience. So I think in general, what you need to have, like just mentally, is to kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like it's uncomfortable
Yeah.
when you don't
Yeah.
know something and you don't
Yeah.
know where to go or what to do, but you got to be comfortable knowing that I don't know, but I will know, right? It's like I
Exactly.
want to do this, so at some point
Yeah.
I will learn more about it. And surrounding yourself with people who understand you and your goals is key. Because
Hmm.
if you're not around people who encourage you, who keep you uplifted, it's going to be really, really tough for you to take that next step. If you're around people who are constantly complaining, who are constantly
Yeah.
fearful, who tell you, why would you do that program? You're already in school for like 8 hours. Like, let's just go hang out, right? That's
Yeah.
not going to
Yeah.
help you thrive. And
Yeah.
sometimes those could be your best friends, you know, at the time. And so you just have to be strong enough to say, okay, I'm gonna make friends that have the same outlook as me or want to at least get involved, right? Find someone else who likes
Hmm.
science just like you and do it together. And that's like your accountability partner, right? Surround
Hmm.
yourself with
Hmm.
with people who want to do it. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable and also know that you can, right? Know that you can do it. Don't We are our toughest critic. Know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. I think once you know that, you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
it'll work out somehow.
Yes,
It'll work out.
that is really, really important, honestly. I love that. So as we have those conversations, I'm gonna bring in some of the questions that I've received from my niece and others. So were there any classes that you took in a high school that you can remember, whether it's language class or anything that kind of helped you open up your mind, or uh, anything that you can remember? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
a
I went to
challenge. Yeah.
it is. So I went to
Yeah.
high school in
Yeah.
2006 to 2010. Oh my God, it seems so long ago.
Hmm.
Um, my 10-year high school reunion would have been coming up, but who knows because of quarantine.
I hope it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I think a couple things did. I took a Spanish class, and I took Spanish all of high school, and I've always wanted to travel out of the country, right? And I didn't at the time. I was traveling like to Florida and to different places with the high school program,
Mm.
but I didn't travel all the time, at least not what I do now. And I think my Spanish class allowed me to take like a trip, but I didn't have to fly, if that made sense, right? It's like in Spanish class, I got to
Okay.
learn Spanish.
Yeah.
I was speaking with people, so I felt like I was in
Yeah.
Mexico. I felt like I was in Spain, and
Wow.
it was great to just like unlock my mind and say, okay, great, this is like outside of my norm. My inside
Yeah.
group doesn't travel, but I'm in this class again where I know that potentially I could go to Nicaragua, right? I could go to
Hmm.
Honduras or Spain and I can speak Spanish, or I can go somewhere outside of the country and learn this, right? This is a new experience. Like
Yeah.
traveling somewhere, like whenever my friends told me, "Oh, I went to Spain or I went to Europe," I was like, "Wow, that's so cool! Like you did that for the summer,
Yeah.
right?" Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I'm able to do that, but it sparked something in my mind to say, you 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 aren't able to right now, but you will at some point in time, right? So like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
little things that you learn in class that like it might not specifically be specifically what you learn, but how you feel and what that means to your life, right? So I think the biggest things in high school, if it's a class that you really like I think when we're younger, if you like math or science or speaking or like grammar or anything, like
Yeah.
write that down somewhere, right? Write down what you like. And even if it's as like simple as, man, I like getting up and making presentations in front of my class. It's so easy to me, right? Like I just get an A
Hmm.
every time I do
Yeah.
it. But I
Yeah.
hate doing all the research. Then that means maybe you do enjoy public speaking. Maybe you can be a
Hmm.
speaker to other people. Maybe you can develop a career outside of that. Maybe you're meant to encourage and inspire or be a teacher. You don't know, right? But you gotta
Yeah.
write down what you like, and then also just like anything you learn outside of class. Like if you're able to, I encourage everybody, if you haven't traveled outside of the current state that you're in the U.S., travel
Yeah.
outside the state, right? Ask your
Yeah.
parents if
Hmm.
you live in Illinois. Let's go to
Hmm.
Indiana, or let's take a road trip and go to Wisconsin, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
drive somewhere and see something
Yeah.
new, or
Yeah.
even just go to SIU, right? If you're drive 5 hours away or somewhere and see something different, because that opens up your mind. Experience changes you as a person. And when you have a different experience outside of your norm, you start to think differently and surround yourself. And like, I mean, in high school for me, when I was surrounded with people at those programs or after school
Yeah.
activities who
Hmm. Hmm.
challenged me, right? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I like business, I'm making money. And they're like, oh, that's cool. Me too. I did this. I wrote a book. Or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hey, I started a business
Wow.
too. And it's like, oh, wow. Like, it's like you humble yourself. You thought you
Yeah,
were doing great
exactly.
things,
Yeah.
but now
Hmm.
you're around
Hmm.
people who are doing something similar. So it even pushes you even further, right? So I
Yeah.
guess I would just say try to find the experiences that make you feel uncomfortable, but that also like surround yourself with people that are like helping to push you, right? So travel somewhere, write
Yeah.
down the classes you like, write down what you
Yeah.
like about those classes, right?
Yeah.
What
Hmm.
skills come easy to you, because that's what
Yeah.
we get tripped up about. Some things come easy to us and we're like, this can't be a career, but it
Yeah.
can be, right? Don't go against the
Hmm.
grain, go with the grain.
Yeah. That's awesome. I really like that. And I feel like high school is where the snowball effect starts. Whatever
Hmm.
you like, the seeds are gonna start sprouting there. So if you write down whatever you like and then go out and explore with that, just push in that direction. That's gonna take you wherever you can go. So if there is anything that if you cannot write down that you like, then explore more, travel
Hmm.
and connect with other people. So
Well, we got a comment say I'm talking. Let me see. Let me turn down this
okay,
volume too. I'm talking too
okay,
loud.
okay, sorry.
No, you good. Go
What are
ahead.
they saying? Okay, okay. So what I think is what would be helpful is for people in high school, just if there is nothing that you like in your classes right now, that means you have not explored enough. Expose yourselves, surround with new people, and go out of your comfort zone. And just there's a lot of opportunities out there. So I know, Brittany, you are very successful right now. You are
Thank you.
working with some of the big companies, and to get to that point, um, for instance, going from high school to college to choose a major or to kind of choose a direction in your life, was that a set direction by your parents or what's you're saying that? And you
Mhm.
talked about entrepreneurship and you mentioned opening bank account at 11 and knowing that you have a say in your life direction. You did something and you saw the result. Life is not something that's already set and you have to live in it. So
Mhm.
you're really making your life, you're creating, you're building your life. I feel like that's a huge, huge life lesson you can have in knowing your own power. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. Um, so for someone who hasn't had that experience or that allowed you to continue to build on, just we want to learn from the decisions you have made and the direction. So to go into business school in college, was that
Mhm.
already decided or why not engineering or why not? So in African culture, I have to say, if you're not a medical doctor or an engineer, you're a failure. I am a failure, so most
Which you're
people,
definitely not.
which I hope I'm not. So, but for people to have confidence in their own skill at a young age, and to kind of sense their direction,
Mhm.
was there any support that you had received, or was there any type of thought process or decision-making approach that you had in terms of, okay, when I go to college, I want to study this. And I'm
Mhm.
asking this in context of I'm talking a lot, but I want to be really honest. I was even when I was at SIU, I had known some friends who ended up switching their majors a few times. And
Mhm.
because of that, they ended up actually piling up a lot more loans. And
Mhm.
when they did not graduate at the same time with their friends, they got discouraged. And just not having a sense of direction. So let's talk about the importance of just actually exploring your talents and knowing, having a sense of direction for your, whether you're going to college or not, just knowing what you want to do in life. So how that came about and were you fully convinced by it or you kind of made up your mind as you go on? So it's kind of open-ended question, but I'll let you just answer that.
I
Thank you.
would that was good context, Sam, too. So I appreciate that. And I think my answer might be a little long-winded, but for me, it was mostly the people that I was around, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of support through that program. There was another, I did in high school, I did some college, like pre-college programs.
Mm-hmm.
So before I came to SIU, I did a program called Exploring Careers in Business through
Mm-hmm.
the Minority Affairs with Michael Haywood.
Mm-hmm.
And there I got to go to SIU to see during my, I think it was my junior year of high school, if I even wanted to go there and what
Oh, so
different
hold on. Let
majors
me.
there were.
So, as a junior in high school, you went to college to see it?
Yeah, it was like a week program.
That's wow, that's awesome. Okay.
So a
I
lot of
didn't know about that.
universities, yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of
okay,
universities have
okay,
these programs. There's
okay,
actually a program called LEAD. It's LEAD. I think it's Leadership,
okay,
Education, something development. But
okay,
the I went to University of Illinois and did a program there too. And I think it was
okay.
a 2 week summer business program or summer business
Hmm.
institute, but they
This is
have them
really
all
why,
over.
sorry, Ted, this is why I really wanted to do. And I mentioned that I didn't go to high school in the US, so I can't really advise some of the high school students that I have in the family or in the community. So the hopefully this video will help people learn in terms of how to choose universities or how to learn. So
Hmm.
about lead, continue.
Yeah, so LEAD, Exploring Careers in Business. I did one called Entrenuity. I can give
Yeah.
you all these links after too, but I did a plethora of programs thanks to my mom, though, right? Thanks to my
Yeah.
mom for being supportive and sometimes finding out about these programs.
Okay.
And I was able to see like what I wanted to do. When I did that AXO program, I
Mm-hmm.
competed in television because I thought I liked editing. I was like, oh, I like
Okay.
shows. So
Mm-hmm.
let me try this. Let me try to be an editor. I did spoken word and poetry. I think I did just a couple of the categories, right, to figure out what I wanted. And I got
Mm-hmm.
to realize in high school, which you talked about, it's horrible when you get to college and you have to switch majors because that equates to a higher, price for your loan
Mm-hmm.
or just you get to pay back. But in high school, I was able to dabble in different careers, right? I was able to do different programs to see I like this, but not as a career, right? Like,
That's
it,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that's what you have to. I think it's better to learn that in high school, but it's also harder when you're still so young. You're trying to learn what you want to do, but sometimes
Yeah.
we know when we're younger, right? We know what we like and we don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to
Mm-hmm.
hone into what you like, and you got to just be a little bit more specific and
Yeah.
figuring that out. And it's trial and error, but you have to try different things to figure it out because or else your mind's going to be like, I want to do this, and this.
Yeah.
And 4 years in college is really hard to figure out what
Yeah.
you want to do.
So did you do any shadowing in high school or other than going to the college and seeing the programs? And when you went to college, I know that you chose SIU. What made you decide that pick that? So two questions. Did you do any shadowing before and that?
I did. I think I did shadowing when it's kind of like through those summer business institutes. What we
Mm-hmm.
would do is they would let us sit in on like a class, a summer class. They would
Mm-hmm.
also let us live in the dorms to see what dorm
Okay.
life would be like. You got to
Yeah.
see the kids that were there over the summer, and you got to experience it, right? That's when I started to learn. In high school, you go to class from 7 a.m. to 2 or 2:30. I think that was my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And now in college, I only go to class for maybe 2 hours or 3 hours a day, right? I have a class
Yeah.
from 8 to 9, 11 to 12:30, and like 1 to 2. I'm like, so what am I gonna do with the rest of my day?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? I'm like, and
Yeah.
you're telling me I only have class Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Like
Yeah.
what? What does that mean? It just sounds like a lot of freedom. That sounds like
Yeah.
fun. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
wow. But then different programs tell you, okay, yes, but maybe you should do 18 credit hours or 20 credit hours up front because your classes are going to be easier. And later
Mm-hmm.
on in life, you want to set yourself up so when college gets harder for your major, you want to take less credit hours later, right?
Yeah.
I had a career advisor kind of talk me and walk me through that, and I think that's how I got to shadow and learn in business, right? In SIU, there was business management, finance, accounting, and marketing, I think, were the
Marketing. Yeah.
four,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right? And so in the programs, it made me learn if I'm going to finance, I'm working for a bank. marketing, you're working for a
Yeah.
marketing
Yeah.
agency,
Yeah.
accounting firm. I'm like, okay, but there's no entrepreneurship, right? Like,
Yeah.
so now
Hmm.
what? But
Yeah.
then I realized like, hey, I would love to work for myself, but I think there's some skills that I need to learn.
Yeah.
And so I actually chose accounting based off what I thought my parents wanted me to do, right? I
Okay.
was like, if
Okay.
I become an accountant, I will make a lot of money. My parents will be
Yeah.
proud of me.
Hmm.
It'll be great. And then in college, I did this program called Inroads, which provides you with internships your freshman and sophomore year. So then that's how I got to intern with Deloitte my freshman year and realized, oh, yes, I was like $28 an hour. Wow,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
balling, right? I'm making a lot of
Yeah.
money. Like this is great. So I
Yeah.
liked going downtown. I liked working, but I didn't like the work I was doing, right? I was like, I'm sitting
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy this. And then it led me to do other programs to find out I want to do consulting, right? I
Hmm.
like flying. I like talking to other people and new clients and solving
Yeah.
problems on a
Yeah.
daily basis. And so
Hmm.
I think that long-winded answer for I was put in different programs to kind of see different avenues. And then
Hmm.
I picked from the avenues that I saw until someone told me different. And in college, when someone opened my mind to consulting, then I went after it,
Yeah.
right? But I didn't know
Yeah. Yeah.
until somebody told me. And I think to have support and people around you are key. And then also, like, your daily decisions determine your destiny, right? So, like, every day, you have to make a decision and you wake up and you said, hey, I want to get involved in this organization, right? And SIU, I try to get involved in everything because I knew that if I got involved in these business programs, I would meet smart people like you, right? And if I'm around smart people like you, then that means
Yeah.
I'm going to get smarter and I'm going to learn.
Exactly.
And
That's
then
huge.
everything's second nature, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, why aren't you? It's like, if I'm around people that are going out to the club all the time, I'm going to be going to the club every day,
Eh,
right?
Pretty
But
much. Yeah.
in college, I feel like they were doing both. It was a great balance. It was like, hey, yeah, let's get involved and then let's volunteer here, Britt. Let's do this for the day. And then at night, let's go out. And I was like, wow, I
Yeah.
can go to class, I can get all these things
Yeah.
done, I can get
Yeah.
involved, I can
Yeah.
volunteer, I can have a job, and I can party. Wow.
And honestly, to me, Brittany, you're like a prime example for someone who does that in a balanced way, who has fun at the same time. You're also putting in work and building your future and doing what you like. So what we see is whether in high school or as soon as you have freedom and get out of your parents' home and go to college, how do you manage that freedom? And what
Mm-hmm.
should high school students should have the mindset when they go to college in terms of
Mm-hmm.
just having that balance and in the future once you get out of college you don't want to have the wrong results at the end of college. So we can talk about that. I think it's a good timing, but I also
Mm-hmm.
wanted not to forget a question. In high school there are career advisors that can
Mm-hmm.
kind of guide you what. So I think maybe that resource could be helpful for
Mm-hmm.
high school kids in terms of, hey, have courage and go talk to your career advisors. They'll tell you
Mm-hmm.
this and that can help you make decisions. So um, the balance in terms of fun and productivity plus
Mm-hmm.
the career advisor program in high school.
So I went to my room because I think every high school student prior to going, even now,
Yeah.
but even when you get to college, needs to get one of these planners, right? Like any type of planner, like this was my life in college. I mean, you can do this online too, right? You have the calendar app in your iPhone. So
Yeah.
you can use that too, but I was more of a written person. Once I wrote it down, like then it was like it's set in stone. So
Hmm.
what I did was when I first got it, I would put in like what my classes are, right? So I'll just
Yeah.
go to like somewhere in August. So let's say in here, it's like you literally have your days, right? Monday, Tuesday,
Hmm.
Wednesday, whatever, whatever. So
Hmm.
I would make a schedule, which is pretty much what I'm saying. Make a schedule for yourself, right? So if you go to
Yeah.
college and you only have 3 classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 classes on Tuesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
and it's from 8 to 11, write that down. So now I have 11 to, I don't know, 8 p.m. to fill up my day with something else.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
you got to notice what you want to do, right? So if you come there, you got to know your why. If I'm
Hmm.
coming there to get an internship or I'm coming to college to get a job, what things can I do to fill up my day to get my career?
That's
And
huge.
to
That's a very
yes,
helpful question to know that. Uh,
and I think for me it was okay, go to
mhm,
class.
mhm,
Then, well, I needed a job because I needed to pay off my loans, and I wanted spending money, right? So it was like I
mhm,
have my classes and I have my job. Now I
mhm.
have free time. Let me get involved in student government. Let me get involved in the business organizations. Let me also get involved in organizations that are fun to me, like a theater club, right? I'm still meeting
Mhm.
people and I'm still learning and it's still contributing to my mental health and my happiness. So
Yeah,
let me do that. And then, make time to study. And then, on the weekends, let me make time for fun, right? I think you have to give
yeah,
yourself a schedule. It's like even now during quarantine, people are struggling because they're sleeping in all day, right? They're waking up at
yeah,
1, 2 o'clock and their day is
yeah,
already done. But it's just
yeah.
because you have to discipline yourself. If you don't, no one's going to tell you to wake up out of bed every day, right? Like
That's
you
huge.
have to
In
do it
college,
yourself.
you own your life. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
and
literally your parents drop you off or you go to college or you're by yourself and now it's just like I'm here. I don't know anybody.
yeah,
And now I'm just in my dorm room with this random roommate, right? Like
yeah, yes,
what do I do? And it's like you have to create your own schedule. You're like, okay,
yeah,
like I don't know if you some people it's good to say daily affirmations, right? So if you wake up and you're like, I run my day. My day will not run me.
yeah.
I choose
Hmm.
to do things that's going to make me successful in the long run.
Hmm.
So whether that's
Hmm.
running,
Yeah.
watching a show, like it doesn't have to be strictly career things, but you need
Hmm.
to do things that make you happy and help you progress. And if you tell yourself that every day and you make a schedule, then it works, right? It's baby steps. I wasn't really thinking like, oh, in 4 years I'm gonna do this, this, and this. But I was like,
Yeah,
tomorrow I'm
yeah,
gonna go to this meeting. In
yeah.
2 weeks, maybe I'll do this, right? And then
That,
everything starts to capitalize on top of each other if you spread it out. You can't do everything all at one time. You'll be stressed.
yeah, I think that's huge. I think having a calendar and running your day and your time, that's really huge. I remember a time when I ruined one of my semesters. I took like 18 credit hours and I'm working 20 hours per week
Yeah.
and I'm forgetting like quizzes due or homework due. I go to class and I'm surprised. I would run from work to class and then I find out. So, would there in terms of decisions, sometimes they may rush to graduate, and some
Mm-hmm.
people maybe not having. I think what you are telling me is having the end in mind. If you know what you are about, you are an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. You're looking for experiences, and you know what skills you want to develop. You have if you have a couple of hours, you know what extra curricular things you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
or whether fitness, whatever you want. So that's huge. I
And
really
if
like that.
and how
Hmm.
you said before, right? Like if
Yeah.
it changes, right? If you go to
Hmm.
school and let's say I wanted to do engineering, right? I knew I didn't want to do engineering because I didn't like science. Or let me say this: it's not that I didn't like science; I
Yeah.
wasn't good at it.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
was like, I don't want to make life hard for myself and do engineering, right?
Yeah.
Or pick
Okay.
a career just because I know it's going to make a lot of money.
Okay.
That's one thing that you should never do. But I think if you go to
So
school
you're
and it
you're really
changes, it's
going
okay.
you're really going against many people's decision. Like a lot of people, or especially if you come from an economically um, like less favored area, or
Hmm.
money is a priority, then you want to make you want to go to a career that makes a lot of money,
It's a
however long it
balance.
takes. Yeah, it's a balance. So but I think in the end what you are saying will pay off if you really pursue your
Hmm.
passion or whatever you want to do. I think that will eventually be also pay the dividends. So
It's like a
um
logical risk, right? Say I'm like, I
yeah,
think uh, everybody wants to have the freedom to do what they want when they want, right? But
yeah,
if you have a business, regardless, or if you work somewhere, um, everything sometimes is not going to be fun all the time, and it's okay. You can still
yeah,
love something and be passionate about it, and it's still not like fun all the time. Not everything is rainbows and sunshines, unfortunately. So like, it's okay. It's like you got to take a logical risk, right? So if you know, hey, I have to go to a career because I have to take care of my family, right? Like I can't just be a struggling artist because I can't go back to my parents' home, or I can't, like, I
mm-hmm,
have to pay my rent, my aunt's rent, and my mom's rent, right? Like I don't have those. I don't If you don't have that, if you don't have that option, then sometimes you do have to take that logical risk. So it's like, okay, what career do I like that I know that I can make a decent earning potential? But
Yeah.
if I know I don't love it, how can
Yeah.
I pick up core skills from that? Like, right?
Hmm.
So like let me think of an example. Like let's say in accounting, right? I didn't like accounting, right? But I knew it was going to make me at least maybe like 60K a year at the time.
Hmm.
So um I was what I if I would have stayed, I could have picked up skills with bookkeeping. I could have picked up skills with how to do my taxes, different write-offs that I mean, we spend money until we die. So it's stuff that like
Yeah.
you're gonna need to know, right? So it's like, how
Yeah.
can I build that fund and know, okay, if I have to be an accountant for like 4 or 5 years, but I do
Hmm.
have a plan to do something on the side if I want to be like if I want to take photography of every city in the world, right? So I'm gonna use my accounting to pay for that, but then on the side, I'm still gonna buy my camera. I'm still gonna take photos. I'm still gonna do what I want to do. But you have to be logical about it, right? So it's like you
Yeah.
can't tell somebody who doesn't who needs to pay bills that oh, just go ahead, do whatever you want, right? No, you're gonna be on the
Hmm.
street. So it's like you
Hmm.
gotta find a logical risk of doing both. Or
Yeah.
if you have the time in college, figure it out, start a business or figure out your skills and start
Yeah.
start to do whatever you like early on, so then you're you're grinding in college, so when you leave, the dividends pay. That's why some people go to college and don't finish, because they figure out, oh, like I already know what I want to do. I have a friend, his name's Perry. He went to
Hmm.
SIU and he left because he's a drummer at heart, right? He's a DJ, he's a producer, and he realized I don't need this
Yeah.
to do my career, right? And
Yeah.
so he found that
Exactly.
out in college and he's
Yeah.
thriving. Yes, it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's a harder way, but you
Yeah.
got to figure out what you want to do and
Yeah.
why, and do it. But I always encourage college, because I think having a bachelor's degree makes things easier in the workforce. If you just don't
Hmm.
know what you want to do,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to attain a job, because if you don't, you gotta grind and hustle every day.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. So let me
Mm-hmm.
get back to mine. I have been asking, I think, my own questions, learning from you a lot. So let me get back to my questions from my niece, who is a junior in high school. Some of her questions is, what's the application process to college and what they will be looking for? Let's say someone
Mm-hmm.
in high school who's a junior in high school. I think I forwarded you her some of
Mm-hmm.
her questions. Her mindset is, it's a stressful, I have to make this decision.
Mm-hmm.
Her life depends on it now. So in terms of what was the application process for you, how many applications did you fill out, and what are colleges looking for in terms of the quality of the students?
Mm-hmm. So I think, you said it's your niece.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think, she's it's okay. All of her feelings, I think, are should be validated, right? It is
Yeah.
stressful. It's
Yeah.
stressful, it's hard. At that point the world is your oyster, right? You can do whatever and go wherever. It's like
Hmm.
too many options. And if no one took you to a university before, right, then you don't know where to go or how to pick. Um, and I think for the application process, everyone is different. I can only remember to what mine was like, but I'm assuming now everything's online. I'm sure they just have
Yeah.
some
Hmm.
universities have questions they'll ask you, like, tell me about yourself, tell me what you want to do,
Hmm.
blah blah blah. Or they'll give you like a prompt to write,
Hmm.
and then they'll just have the application process. I think before that, sometimes it costs to apply to a lot of universities. So
Hmm.
I would say plan and think about what you might want to do, right? So if you know that you might want to, I'm trying to think of a different career, right? If you want to be in retail,
Hmm.
then look up universities that have the best retail program. That's what you need to look for. What university can give me the best careers, because that's what you're going for, right? I think I love SIU. Everybody's such a go-getter though, right? Sometimes you have to
Hmm.
chase opportunities at SIU, because people
Exactly.
from Chicago don't come down to Carbondale to go to University of Chicago or Northwestern or somewhere else, right?
Hmm.
So if you want to make the career process a little bit easier on yourself, you got
Yeah.
to go to a university that's going to provide the career that you want. And it's hard when you don't know what you want, right? Because then it's like, I don't know
Exactly.
which
Yeah.
university to go to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say then you would find the best program with the best major that you would like, right?
Yeah.
Or
Hmm.
maybe the college that has the best people makeup that you like, right? If you're
Hmm.
able to
Hmm.
travel to the college, that I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend that. Doing the college tour.
Yeah.
and seeing like, can this be home to me, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
great, because if you're not comfortable, you won't thrive, right? If you're not
Yeah.
feeling happy there, you're gonna
Yeah.
just stay in your dorm and not go anywhere. So you got to
Yeah.
go to a place where you feel like, okay, I like a small college, or I like a large college, or I
Yeah.
like these programs and this is where I
Yeah.
can go. And then it helps you narrow down for your application process. Instead of looking at 20 schools, now you found 10 schools. And then you can go from there and then figure out, okay, can I afford to pay the application fee to apply to all these universities? And
Mm-hmm.
then get a mentor or a scholarship coach. I got a scholarship coach in high school. I don't know if my mom's tuned in. She hates when I tell this story. But
Okay.
one Saturday, she came in my room and she was like, I don't know how we're going to pay for your college, but you got to go.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, okay, college
That,
costs.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
That, yeah, a lot of people have that question. I want to go to college, but I can't afford it. Yeah.
Right. And so
Mm.
she put me in touch with a lady named Latoya Forrester, and she's still doing it. So I can give you her information, but she's a scholarship coach.
Great.
So pretty much she sits down with you, or maybe now virtually, helps you apply to different scholarships, because some of them have like the same process. I applied for like a
Yeah.
left-handed scholarship, right? Like small things I never even knew about. I
I
think,
never heard of that. Yeah.
yeah, I applied to over 200 scholarships, and I think I got like
Wow.
7 or 8, but
Huge. That's amazing.
it paid for majority of my college, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that was something where it's like I had support. I had someone who could put me in touch
Yeah.
with a
Mm-hmm.
coach. So I think if you're able to, and it's never too early or too late to apply for scholarships. You can do it at any point in time. Like right now, it's probably the best time to do it, right? You can
Okay.
definitely find somebody to apply to scholarships, and then it helps you get in there. It can also help you waive the application fee for college, right? If you
That's
have different
huge.
scholarships,
Yeah.
there's also different
Mm-hmm.
programs that can say, hey, if your parents make under this amount, you don't have to pay to apply. And
Mm-hmm.
that helps so much. And then finding someone who can look over those essays, who can look over your
Yeah.
application, because that's how someone's gonna first perceive you, right? Like now we have
Yeah.
Instagram and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone looks at my Instagram, that's like my resume. People can see like I'm a real
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what I do. So when you apply to college, you need to make sure that your resume and how people perceive you is what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
need a second opinion and not
Mm-hmm.
just your own when you do that.
That's really helpful. I hope a lot of people are gonna benefit from that, and hopefully people take advantage of this time to apply for different scholarship. 200 to get seven.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I think we get in high school, people may not have that kind of commitment. So just
Mm-hmm.
having the passion, if you want something, whatever it takes, you have to do to get it. Having
I
that
mean, you
mind.
gotta you
Yeah,
gotta think about the other side, right? For me, I'm like, okay, if I
yeah,
don't go to college,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a normal. I'm gonna have to get a regular job, right? And then
Yeah,
in my regular job before, I worked at a ice cream place. I worked at Best Buy, and at that point
yeah,
in time, I don't know. I think I was making like $7 to $9 an hour. I don't remember, but like that was I was barely like I was making some money, but like if you think about it, when you graduate,
yeah,
if your apartment costs $1,000 a month, your car costs $200 a month, and you got to eat and bills, right? If you
yeah,
at base need $1,500 a month, and you have a minimum wage job, you're gonna be barely breaking even every month.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
I want to put myself in a position where I don't want to just work 80 hours to break even, right? I want
yeah,
to invest in myself
yeah,
to get to a position where I can make more money, and that was college. So I was like, this is my ticket
yeah,
to my success. So it's like I got to do what it takes. So I feel like whenever you think about that, when you think about
yeah,
the alternative,
yeah.
right? You're
That's a
then
good
that scared me.
that's a good way of thinking. If I don't do this, what will happen? I think this is a good time if you could let people know, because you made that investment, where you are in life now, and
Hmm.
what kind of things that you like doing, what you like about your job, and the perks that come with your job, even just to whatever
Yep.
detail you want to go.
So
So,
I did an internship with Accenture. It's a company, my full-time career that I work for. I did an internship my junior year. I did that
mhm.
through a program called SEO. It was in New York. They talked about consulting and investment banking, but that's how I
Mhm.
learned about because consulting is a career that most people don't know about. So I
Mhm.
switched from accounting to finance my junior year. Um, A, because I didn't want to take my CPA. I
Th-
didn't
th-
want to be an accountant.
That's another topic for another day because that's a
Yeah.
huge achievement to be able to do that. So, okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then like I said earlier about one of my friends, she was like, Brittany, you're gonna like consulting because you get to fly around, solve
Yeah.
problems, meet people.
Mhm.
I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
this sounds like a
Yeah.
sexy career, like, right? Like,
I've
let me
seen all
figure out.
the, yeah, yeah.
So then I started
That's it.
working at Accenture. I did an
Mhm.
internship in mergers and acquisitions, which pretty much all that is when a company is buying another company or if two companies are coming together.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't really know much about it, but I was just helping and I was like, wow, I'm around people that seem like very comfortable in their career, very like they seem like they're not struggling, right?
Yeah.
And they're going out and they're drinking and they're eating and they're having fun and all this. I'm just like, I love it, right? Like I love the
Yeah.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm learning about the work and the work didn't seem like horrible either. So I was like, oh, I can do this too. So when I started full time, they put me in Accenture strategy and all it is for consulting, you solve problems for businesses,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
if if Apple said, "Hey, during quarantine, people are not buying iPhones anymore. They'll hire a team of me plus like five other people to
Mhm.
go diagnose the problem and figure out how we can sell more iPhones." But
Wow.
the good thing about it is I go to different projects every 3 to 6 months because all I'm doing is I'm interviewing people and giving them a strategy, right? Like this is
Mhm.
how you
Mhm.
can solve your problem.
Yeah.
And the perks of that is I can go to places like last year I went to Miami, right? I went to
Mhm.
Malibu, California. I was staying in very nice hotels right on the beach, right?
Yeah.
You're in great places where the company's paying for your hotel and you're getting hotel points to use for
Yeah.
personal travel. You're getting
Huge.
paid to eat every day. You're getting paid like $50 a day to eat, right? You're
Yeah.
getting they're flying you around the place, so you're
Yeah.
getting these points. So then
Yeah.
for me, for my birthday this year, I took a solo trip and I went to Nicaragua, right, by myself. But for
Huge.
every trip that I've taken, I've used
Yeah.
my own points, right? And different things that
Yeah.
I've accrued instead of paying for stuff. And it helped me learn more about like credit, right? What's
Yeah.
how to use credit cards, how to acquire points and stuff like that. That's what
Mhm.
I've learned with my business or with my job. And I'm also in a place where I'm acquiring skills that I like to become an entrepreneur. So on the side, Accenture
That
allows me flexibility. That's what I
that's
like, right?
amazing. Are you struggling to pay rent now? Compare that
No,
if you hadn't done.
no, not at all. Which is a blessing, right? Well, I just bought
Yeah.
my house in October. I was actually lived with my parents for 5 years.
How old are you again?
I'm 28, but for
You
me
bought your own house. That's huge. Yeah.
it was a blessing, right, to be able to stay at
Yeah.
home so I can save because a lot of my
Hmm.
friends too were moving in the city and I wanted to move
Yeah.
too. I wanted
Yeah.
to be downtown. I wanted to have fun, but I knew if I can just save my money,
Hmm.
right? If I can just
Yeah.
invest it, then
Yeah.
that means instead of buying a place that I'm okay in, I can buy a place that I love in the future, right? And it's more so it's like we're more so what is it? Immediate. We want immediate like what is it like gain, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gratification, quick. Yeah.
Yes, instant
Yeah.
gratification we
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have to learn with business and investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Um, it's better to do things sometimes long term. I don't know if I'm going to be here a year from now or 6 months from
Yeah.
now, but I do know that my dollar will be
Hmm.
stronger later than it is
Yeah.
right now. But yes, that's it allows me to travel. I have an ATM business on the side, so I put like ATM machines in retail companies and like a barbershop, a hair salon. I like to invest, right? I like to figure out how to make more money.
That's
So then I do
amazing.
that. I sell on
Yeah.
Amazon. I sell like products on Amazon. I've been
That's
doing that
amazing. That's
since
awesome.
October. And I what else do I do like a couple things on the side. I also have a podcast called Be
Yeah.
Great. Um,
That that's huge.
yeah.
And one thing I really know about you is you're a constant learner and you just don't stop. You continuously improve yourself. And what I'm getting from you is going from high school to college, it's not even just about your major only, or it's not only about the academic things. You're just well-rounded. You're the way you communicate with people and you interact with people, decisions you make about finances and even like learning skills in terms of changing from finance into consulting.
Hmm. But
Having
you got to
that,
learn over time though, right? That's something that's
yeah,
like Now
Yeah.
looking back, right, I think
Yeah.
people, it's you wish you can see the progression, right? I wish everything was filmed so I can show like everybody, like I could not speak. I could not walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, my name is Brittany Greathouse. Can you tell me more about your career?" Right? Like I couldn't do things like that. That stuff was so fearful to me. But when you're
Come on.
younger and
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Come on.
I literally was. I was like awkward. I didn't know what to like
Wow.
dress for business etiquette, right? I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
A lot of things were really tough, but if you do those daily decisions and you learn and you know that like, okay, it's okay. I know I'm a far
Yeah.
ways away, but like
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it at some point. It's good. And I think if you have a mentor or someone who's like already there, it helps, right? Because then they help
Yeah.
you to stumble less, right? They're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you got to go to this, you got to go to this organization. Oh, okay, cool. For your college
Yeah.
application, maybe you should get involved in the honor society and different things like that, right? Like
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
help you think through things because they've been there and they've done that. And so I was fortunate to have mentors and to be able to know that it's okay to not know everything, but you will at some point in time. And that's how in the US there was a song called by Mike Jones, and it was like back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, people are all on me, right? It was a song back in the day, and I knew, you know, I was lame in high school, I was very
Yeah.
weird, but I knew I was
Yeah.
driven. I was like, I know I have potential, right? I know I can get
Yeah.
somewhere. And so that's
Yeah.
when you know, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes you might not be feeling like you're in the right space, but if you invest in yourself,
Yeah.
you take the time and you keep learning, at some point
Yeah.
you're gonna come into your own, right?
That's great. I think you are being a mentor and a great example for many people now people who learn and use this video in the future. But I want to ask in terms of choosing a mentor or how to go about if someone haven't done it before
Mm-hmm.
or they don't have a mentor and they just don't have any idea. What do you advise in terms of who they should consider, how they should ask, and just anything you, it wasn't part of my question, but I think it's
Mm-hmm.
very helpful to have a mentor. Yeah.
I would say to get involved, if you're in high
Hmm.
school or middle school,
Yeah.
get involved in
Yeah.
after school clubs or organizations. And
Hmm.
there you will find your mentors, I believe. So if you like sports, you like football,
Yeah.
and you are in an after school football program,
Yeah.
your coach might be your mentor, right?
Hmm.
That's going to be the person that's pushing you and telling you what to do and saying, hey, you need to practice this, you need to go here, right? Like that's a mentor where it's like you're not actively seeking and saying, hey, can you be my mentor? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because sometimes those formal commitments don't seem very genuine sometimes, right? So it's like
Okay. Hmm.
you have to just place yourself in organizations or rooms that you want to be in, and then you meet someone, and let's say it's even like a conference you go to and you meet somebody one time. You don't have to say, hey, can you be my mentor? But you can say, hey, do you have a business card or contact information or a LinkedIn profile that I can stay in touch with you about, right? Or
Hmm.
can I reach
Hmm.
out to you and we
Hmm.
chat about, a call? And
Yeah.
that's not even, you're not asking them to be your mentor, but you're
Hmm.
asking them to give you advice. And which in turn, if you like that person, their lifestyle, and you kind of want to, you like something in them, or you want to emulate something, you feel like they can help you and they
Hmm.
do, then in turn they are your mentor or your coach
Yeah.
or some type of like supporter, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's the people you need to be around. You got to be okay to ask questions and say, okay, I don't know this, but let me reach out to this person and see if I
Yeah.
can. And sometimes I went to conferences and I reached out to people. I was like, hi, can I borrow some of your time? Blah blah blah. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They gave me the
Yeah.
card. They never responded. Right.
Yeah.
I reached
Yeah.
out. I didn't hear anything back. And for me, that was
Yeah.
like, wow, this should I not reach out anymore? Right. Like that's that
Ex
I my confidence was low,
yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
you're always going to hear no,
Yo.
right? And
Yeah. Hmm.
be okay with hearing no. My friend told me that the other day. She's like, because someone's going to tell you no in life, right? And that's
Yeah.
completely
Hmm.
fine. That's like
Yeah.
if you're dating and everybody told you yes, like like
Yeah.
that's it's not going
Yeah.
to happen. So it's
Yeah.
okay to take no,
Yeah.
but for the people who do say yes, then invest in them and let them invest in you, because
Yeah.
even though there's people that are listening that are maybe in high school,
Hmm.
there are things that, like, if I spoke to one of them on the phone, we can teach each other different things, right? Because you have
Yeah.
skills that maybe you don't know about, but
Yeah.
there's things that you can teach me and I can teach you.
Yeah. Huge, huge. I hope people will use that in the future. So I know I'm holding you up a lot, but let me get to
No, you're fine.
a couple of questions that may be helpful. So one of my cousin asked this question to ask you. um, comparing between AP classes in high school versus dual enrollment between high school and college. Which one to do? Are AP classes worth it to take? So it's gonna depend based on the person, but if you have
Mm-hmm.
any opinion about that.
You're saying AP classes compared to what's dual enrollment?
I think taking a college level course while they're in high
Oh,
school.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I think financially taking college courses instead of AP courses or
Mm-hmm,
taking the AP courses to get the college credit is
mm-hmm.
worth it, right? Because you're saving money. If you're
Yeah.
doing those basic courses, then you're giving yourself when you get to college more time to breathe and take like less credit hours so you can get more involved and do different
Mm-hmm,
things, right? So if you have the opportunity to take an AP course or get college credit or do that dual enrollment where you can take college courses early, I would definitely do it. Not saying that you only need to spend three years in college, right? I think if you can spend the full 4 years,
mm-hmm.
do it, but make it easier on yourself and do those courses in high school. So when you get to college, instead of needing 15 hours every semester to graduate, now you only need 12. So
Mm-hmm.
now that you have 12, you have three free extra hours on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that. So those
Yeah.
hours you can spend toward getting a job or
Mm-hmm.
getting involved in an organization or shoot, just going to sleep, right? Or relaxing, like
Yeah.
whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. But I
Yeah.
would definitely say if you can do AP courses, 'cause I think you can do AP and then test out in college, but you got to see if those will correlate to the college you want to go to. Because some courses you can take and it's not transferable. So you got to make sure that the college that you go to, the university, those courses can be credited to you.
Huge. Thank you. And mine is one of our question was, can I participate in non-academic activities, being part of different organizations? And she's now involved in high school in different organizations at
Hmm.
her high school. So she loves to help people. She loves to get involved. So are there opportunities to do that in college as well?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Probably even more so, right? I think for
Yeah.
me, I love the business organizations, but so I also pledged a sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated,
Hmm.
aka you'll see it, they're women in pink and green, but
I have seen you guys a lot, so you can plug in and kind of preach what kind of benefit people can get in joining organizations like that. Yeah.
Yep. So it's a sorority. They're more social, but with anything else, we also do sisterhood and service first,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
I'm an only child, so being in a sorority, I got to have a lot of sorority sisters, right? So I got a bond,
Yeah.
and I built a bond with
Hmm.
other women on campus that were my sorors that also wanted to get involved, but also wanted to party and hang out, also
Hmm.
wanted to do philanthropic activities. I knew the organization was based off of service, right? It's giving back, getting great grades, and
Yeah.
it's around successful, beautiful women, right? And I'm like,
Hmm.
why would I not want to be a part of that organization? So that was something that was
Yeah.
more so fun, right? But also I guess it's both, right? Everything is like a
Yeah.
balance of both, but it was fun,
Hmm.
right? We got to go to parties, we got to do the
Yeah.
stepping competitions, travel
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I did a theater class because that, for me in theater, right, it doesn't translate to business, but I did it because it brought me joy. And
Yeah. That's
in the
huge.
non-academic things, you actually can pick up great skills, right? So whenever I interviewed for like my job at Accenture, they were like, "So what do you do outside of like work and
Yeah. Hmm.
organizations, right? Tell me it's something else." And I was like, "Oh, well, I really do like theater and I wrote a play." And they were like, "Wow, you wrote a play? That shows
Yeah.
that you took initiative, you did something,
Hmm.
you performed it and you
Hmm.
got it, you're taking initiative, it's something you're interested in and you're a driver, right?" And those things, even though they're not academic, they still possess skills that can really help you and shape and tell your story that sets you
Yeah.
apart from someone else. So if you're like, "Hey, I like
Yeah.
to play the guitar,"
Yeah.
and I wrote a song, or I've been playing for like 5 years now, that shows consistency, right?
Yeah.
I've been
Huge.
playing and I've been learning, and this is what I'm doing. And
Hmm.
it again, somebody would probably they won't remember all the business things you do, but they'll remember that you play guitar and you've been playing for 5 years, and that's what
That's
sets you apart, right? It's
yeah,
crazy.
huge, huge, huge. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's a lot of great answers and great guidances you're giving us. So I'm just gonna make a lighter question for you now. Have you been watching The Last Dance recently? About
I haven't. Oh
Okay.
no. I need to
Okay.
though, because I heard it's so great, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And it
it's so good. And I was gonna follow that up if you were, I can still ask this question even if you're
mhm,
not. I know you're a diehard Chicago fan, so
mhm.
Braun versus Jordan. Do you have
I'm Michael Jordan all the way, right? Like
come on.
I admire though both of their consistency. They're both very
Yeah,
consistent. They
yeah,
have that like how Kobe was, right? That Mamba mentality. They have that drive, no fear. I know I need to put in the work. I could be talented, but I still got to put in work to
yeah,
get where I want to go. And I think all
yeah,
three of them, Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan, had that, right? And they were focused and they had the tunnel vision. And I think with anything in life, right, it's very inspiring, I think, to watch
huge.
those movies and those shows because it
Yeah,
shows you like they were persistent even when times were tough. Like there's times where I would watch the NBA and I see LeBron literally getting crushed, right? He would be
yeah,
down, but
yeah,
somehow in that locker room or some self talk, he told himself like, you know what,
yeah,
it's not over, right? It's not over until I see 0-0 on that shot clock, and he pulled through, right? Those things are
yeah,
like so inspiring and motivating. But
it is.
Jordan, yeah, I'm always a Chicago fan.
You, you know what? I was a Braun fan all the way the past however many years, but now watching this documentary, you see how he was so determined to win.
Hmm.
I converted. I'm with you. I'm Jordan too. So thank you so much for doing this with me and
Of course.
just giving back to the community by answering questions. And hopefully, people that did not go to college or did not go to high school in the US and they have kids or they have family or just someone in the community they want to help out, they get some helpful informations and additional informations if they need.
Hmm.
How can they reach you and how can they follow you? I can pass that information as well. And
For
hopefully
sure.
in the future we can do continue maybe down the road after a few months
Hmm.
if we have more questions about some of the topics we can come back. But for people who want to follow and I know you are doing a lot of IG live and you have YouTube, so
Hmm.
for people who want to follow you, if you could drop your information, I
Sure.
can share
So
that.
I'm super accessible, right? So like if someone wants to reach out to me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always on Instagram. If you reach out to me via LinkedIn, like I'm also very informal, right? I think everything, if you're building a relationship with someone, you don't have to be
Yeah,
super informal, but sometimes it stops young people from reaching out when they feel like I don't know how to make this message right or what to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
So if you DM me on Instagram, which is my full name at Brittany Greathouse, or the business page is at Be Great LLC. That's the same thing on
Be
YouTube. If you
great.
go to yes,
Yeah, I
Be
love
Great.
that. Yeah,
If you follow that, yeah, subscribe on YouTube or on Instagram, right? You can DM me or send me a message. I will respond on Facebook. Same thing at Be Great or my personal Brittany Greathouse page. I'm normally running all my social media, right? So if someone ever needs advice, guidance, help, want to
yeah,
invest together, want to just, talk about things, I'm
yeah,
always open to do that. So feel free, like, don't be discouraged. Just literally reach out to me. Let's set up a time to talk. Let's FaceTime or like,
yeah,
whatever it is. Like you can
yeah,
literally just shoot me or an email, but I prefer no email. Like if anything's
yeah,
like, even like
yeah,
I can give you my cell number, right? I don't mind
yeah,
texting.
yeah,
So Sam, I can give you whatever information that you want for people, whatever's most comfortable.
yeah,
And then if
yeah,
people want to reach out after that, I would love to be able to talk to if you want your niece one on one or whoever it is, right? Because I think
yeah,
having somebody in your life that can at least help make things a little easier
yeah.
would be
That's
nice.
it.
And like I said in return, right, I can learn a lot too.
Yeah,
So I'm getting
great,
older now.
great. Thank you so much. It's hugely appreciated. And I just want to say, lastly, you're an inspiration, and I know you're gonna continue to achieve a lot more and continue to teach us with your example. Look forward to chatting again in the future,
Hmm.
but keep doing what you're doing. We love it. So thank you
And
so much.
thank you. Thank you,
Hmm.
Sam, for letting me do this, right? And
Yeah,
and having the platform and for you
yeah,
in general for doing this, right? Like a lot of people don't even do this for their own family. So that's
yeah,
awesome of you that you're
yeah.
able to
Thank you.
facilitate that and
Thank
be that person. And also you set an example yourself from all your success. So
thank you.
that's
Thank you.
awesome. So thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much, Brittany. We love you. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.